characters, incidents, names, and situations used in this story are fictitious. The resemblance to any person living or dead is purely coincidental. The following video contains some horror elements and suitable for a mature audience, 16 plus. This channel and video is not for kids. Hello friends, I am Arian, and welcome to our channel, Midnight Horror Stories, where you get to hear true and scary ghost stories. But before starting the story, all the friends who have come to this channel for the first time, please subscribe to the channel, and if you like the story, then definitely introduce yourself in the comment section. Then let's do not take much time and start our story quickly. Friends, today's story is about a boy from Perambalur city of Tamil Nadu named Raman. So let's now hear this story from Raman's point of view. Hello friends, my name is Raman and I am from the city of Perambalur in Tamil Nadu. Friends, today I want to tell you about a true incident of my life, which can be quite scary for you. Because when all this happened to me, it was all very heartbreaking for me too. Actually, about 5 years ago, I lived with my family in Perambalur. My family consisted of my parents, elder brother, sister-in-law, a daughter and a son, and my wife Meenakshi. At that time, our lives were good. It was going on. We were all happy together. My elder brother and sister-in-law worked in the hospital. My father was a retired police constable and my mother was a housewife. I also used to work in a shopping mall, and my wife Meenakshi was doing her studies. In fact, people here are very much attached to religiosity. So here you will find temples everywhere. People have more faith in worship. Our festivals are also unique and different. Our Tamil culture has a distinct identity in the whole country, and our culture is Hindu, more influenced by religion. But our funeral rituals hold a different place in our Tamil culture. We give more importance to the soil to maintain its unity. Therefore, the body is not cremated here, but it is buried with full law. We also have a different food culture. So let me now tell you about what happened next. Our lives were going well at that time. Meenakshi was everyone's darling. My mother, father, brother, sister-in-law, all he kept them with a lot of love. His 2 children also sprayed their lives on him. Meenakshi was so sensible and sweet. She was also very religious. In the morning and evening, she used to spend most of the time in worship. She used to say that worshiping gives her a different kind of comfort. Our lives were going on normally. One day, Meenakshi and all of us family members made a plan that we would go to Setuband Rameswaram Dham. We took a bus from Perambalur to Tiruchirappalli as per our plan, and then took the night train from there, which was going to Rameswaram. We people were very happy while going to Rameswaram Dham, and we had a special attachment to this place. We reached there around 5 a.m. and took a bus straight to the temple. First of all, we went to the Ghat of Setuband Rameshwar and took a bath and then went towards the temple without changing clothes. There is a pool about which there is a different belief. In Setuband Rameswaram, the water of worship that is offered to Lord Bholanath's Shivling is collected in it, and that water is taken out by a man of the temple. Puts up, which is considered quite sacred. We went there and bathed him with holy water and then visited the temple. It was a very big temple, and there is a lot of recognition about this temple. After visiting there, we came back to our hotel, changed clothes, had food, and went to see what else is there to see. The tomb of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam is really worth seeing. Apart from this, there are a lot of places, so we roamed around there and came back to the hotel by evening. We rested overnight after dinner, and in the morning we went back to our house. Left. But we didn't know what was going to happen to us now. Something was going to happen that we never dreamed of. After that, our lives were going to change completely. At that time, as soon as we left Setuband Rameswaram and reached Tiruchirappalli by train, and from there we boarded a bus and left for our city. Now we were all very tired and it was already night. In such a situation, we were sleeping. Suddenly, we woke up with a terrific bang. Our bus was involved in an accident with a dumper coming from the front. We understand something. Find. Before that, there was a screaming in the entire bus, and there was a fire. It was all so horrible that I can't tell you guys. At that time, as soon as the collision happened, some people fell out of the windows, but some people came under fire in the bus. With this, the bus overturned 3 times, and the bridge over the river on which it was running hung downwards towards the river, due to which a lot of passengers got out of the bus and fell into the river, scorching in the fire. At that time, as soon as the bus collided with the dumper, I went down from the window. I fell and hurt my head. I saw the horrific scene with my own eyes while the bus was burnt in the fire and then hanging on the side of the river and then fainted. When I regained consciousness, I found myself in the hospital. Now, when I started running from there to find my family, I was caught by the people working there and tried to understand me that at this time, I have to work with courage and patience. At that moment, I was crying for my family. He was screaming. The same horrible scene was unfolding in front of my eyes, and I was panicking. The heartbeat was bigger, thinking that I don't know how my family will be, in what condition. I started looking for my family members while questioning the people who were there, because I came to know that all the people who have been injured, or all the people who have died, all are in this hospital. At that moment, an unknown fear was haunting me. I was moving forward while questioning, and I came to know that all the people of my family are there. But Meenakshi was not yet traced. Along with this, there were many people, those who were not even detected. After this incident with their loved ones, the sound of screaming of many people was coming there because many people were badly burnt. His body was not recognizable, so some people's hands and feet were also separated from each other. It was a terrible collision, and after a while my family was found. All the people were in an unconscious state. Thank God no one was hurt. Maybe when the collision happened, they fell out of the window like me. But Meenakshi was not seen yet. Now all efforts were being made to find the bodies of those who had fallen into the river. My heart sank thinking about Meenakshi. I was crying and praying to God that my Meenakshi is safe. Gradually, we all met each other and we were discharged after a little treatment. The police were also constantly questioning us. We were also making every effort to find Meenakshi. There was no trace of him. Then we came back home. But there wasn't a single moment selection. Then a call came from the police that the body of a girl whose age is found. The 22-year-old is almost completely burnt, and the rest of the bodies found have been identified and taken away by their families. Only one corpse remains. Saying this, he told the age of the girl whose body belonged, and we reached there in panic. At that time, our pain could not even be imagined. We were praying to God in our hearts that the corpse should not be of Meenakshi. Meenakshi is safe wherever she is. Thinking about this, we got there. As soon as we saw the corpse, our senses were blown away. Almost all of it was burnt. He was dressed and clung to it completely. At that time, it was very difficult to identify the corpse because it was completely burnt and looked very horrific and scary. Based on our age and clothes, we mistook it for Meenakshi's corpse and brought her with us as the burnt clothes were sticking to her corpse. These were the same clothes that Meenakshi was wearing at the time of the accident. Now we had brought that corpse. What was going on in our hearts now? Who could understand better than us? But who could have avoided it? Our neighbors, relatives were all trying to take care of us. Preparations for the funeral began. By the way, Meenakshi was my aunt's daughter in the relationship. Now you guys must be wondering what is Funda. So yes, we celebrate the entire Tej festival like Hinduism. Marriage is exactly the same way. All things related to our religious virtue are like this. But some of us have talked about Muslim religion and Christianity in our Tamil culture. In our country, uncle can also marry anyone's daughter. There is a marriage here. This kept the family's relationship strong. Along with this, we eat all kinds of non-veg food. Our culture is a composite culture of all communities in which Hinduism has a greater influence. My relationship with Meenakshi was fixed in childhood, and as soon as we were of marriageable age, we were married. Now Meenakshi's death had caused a lot of shock to all of us. My aunt and uncle were all crying and crying. Full preparations were made for the funeral. I filled the vermilion in the crying Meenakshi's demand. Now we took her corpse and went to perform her last rites and dug the grave and placed Meenakshi's corpse there with full rituals and put soil on it with our hands and bid her a final farewell. At that time, I was suffering inside, thinking of how he has given his life in agony. She was only 22 years old and left us so soon. The shock was unbearable for us. We came home after his funeral. Relatives were also staying there. Everybody was taking care of us. We were explaining, and now we also accepted that Meenakshi is not among us. We'll never see him again. But we could not have imagined what was going to happen to us. After Meenakshi's death, gradually all the relatives also left. We were also trying to move forward with our lives. But it was not easy to forget Meenakshi. I was completely devastated by his departure. I sat in the room all day and cried with her picture in my hand. Then, 11 days after his death, there was a sudden sound of knocking on the door of the house one evening. We were all sitting outside at that time. As soon as there was a knock on the door of the house, my mother went and opened the door, and she saw something that she screamed. Now hearing his screams, we all ran towards him. What we saw there was no place for us to be surprised that what we were seeing was reality or a dream, because Meenakshi was standing in front of our eyes, who was absolutely safe. Seeing this, we could not understand how this could happen. Then she looked at us and said, "What are you looking at?" I wasn't happy to be here, anyone. Hearing this, I said in a hurry, "No, but it is not like that." Now Meenakshi looked at us and said angrily, "Even once did any of you try to take care of me where I am? In what condition am I? Hey, if a dog and cat in the house goes somewhere, then it is also taken care of. But you didn't care about me." Saying this, as soon as he angrily stepped inside the house, the weather suddenly worsened. The wind began to blow strongly. We were surprised to see this for a moment. Then as soon as Meenakshi stepped inside the house, bright lightning started flashing. As soon as he saw Meenakshi, the pet dog of our house started barking loudly. But when Meenakshi looked at him angrily, he ran away from there. Now we came behind Meenakshi. At that time, we were surprised. That's when I went to him. He said, "You're fine." But how? Then Meenakshi told that when the accident happened and the bus was overturned, when it was on fire, it fell into the river before it could burst into flames. I reached the village. She was in an unconscious state. Some people rescued him and took him to the hospital. But because of all this, she was so shocked that she could not tell anything. He suffered minor injuries. He was also treated. But due to nervousness, she was unable to speak to anyone. In such a situation, they also stopped asking. In the government hospital, no one pays attention anyway. But when my condition was completely cured, I went to come here. But I guess you guys weren't happy to see me do anything. Hearing this, he said, "No, it's not like that." Then my mother came crying to him and hugged him and said, "Son, what are you talking about? We heard that you were not among us." Saying this, he told the whole thing, how we had received a call from someone, and we came with the corpse. Then he was also cremated. The corpse was completely burnt, but on the basis of the clothes that were clinging to his body, and on the basis of age, they understood him. Now everyone was happy with the arrival of Meenakshi, the things that Meenakshi told everyone. But I was sure, in such a situation, everyone felt that they had accidentally cremated a wrong corpse. Maybe a girl is of Meenakshi's age, and she is also wearing the same clothes as Meenakshi. But now God has sent his Meenakshi safely. That's what everyone was thinking. Then I came into the room with Meenakshi. Seeing him, I couldn't stop myself and hugged him and cried. He said, "How have I spent every moment without you?" I know I hugged him, but as soon as he hugged me, I realized that the nails of his hands had grown enough to prick me. Seeing this, I did not pay much attention to it. That's when I started smelling the horrible smell of burning while hugging Meenakshi. The smell didn't even allow me to breathe properly. But at this time, I was only conscious of Meenakshi and was not conscious of anything. I was hugging her and kept telling her about my problem, but she wasn't saying anything. She was just staring at me. Then I took her face in my hands and said, "Now you have come, right? Everything will be all right now." Hearing this, he gave me a strong push, so I kept falling. Seeing this, I looked at him in astonishment. So she looked at me angrily and said, "Now show this to someone else." Hearing this, I could say something. Before that, she went to the bathroom. I was thinking maybe he is angry with me, and why am I not angry too? She was alone in the hospital for so many days. He missed us every moment. What would have happened to him? But thinking that none of us cared about him, but how do we tell him that we got this out here and we cremated someone else's body? That's when he knocked on the bathroom door and asked me to come in. So I went inside. Without saying anything, she started kissing me and doing obscene things with me. Along with this, she also started speaking obscene words. I was surprised to see that he neither liked talking to me nor listening to me. She just came close to me as if she was hungry for lust. When I was tired, I lay down on the other side to sleep. But Meenakshi was doing the same things. Seeing this, I looking at the side, he said, "Please let me sleep," and slept on the other side. Seeing this, she did not say anything in anger. Then I woke up in the middle of the night to hear a sound, so I was surprised. Meenakshi was looking at me. She looked very frightening at the time. His face was right above me. Seeing this, my breath caught in my throat for a moment. I was terrified. Now I looked at her and said, "What happened, Meenakshi?" So without saying anything, she looked at me angrily and left from there and went back to her place and lay down. Seeing this, I saw he took a deep breath and closed his eyes to sleep again. Then I heard something fall, so I hurriedly opened my eyes again. When I looked around, Meenakshi was not there. Not seeing Meenakshi, I was worried about where she could go. Then I glanced at the clock on the wall in front of me. It was only 12 o'clock, so I got up and came out and started looking around at Meenakshi. Suddenly, the sound of some things falling and screaming was heard. Hearing this, I ran to the other side in panic and saw that this voice came from the kitchen. It was. My mother was standing there. When I went to my mother, she came to me nervously and said in a hurry, "Is there something here?" So she told that when she came here to get water, the sound of someone crying was heard. He looked around and saw a woman with a terrible face sitting on him. Seeing this, she could understand something. Before that, the woman started staring at him. Then she got nervous. I said, "Mom, where did you look?" So my mother pointed to the fridge, and I looked near the fridge, and there was nothing. Seeing this, I said, "Mother, you have some confusion. There is nothing here." Hearing this, my mother panicked and said, "No." Then I said, "Mom, it's nothing. Don't panic. Let's go." Saying this, he brought her with him, but my mother was very scared. When I came to the room, I saw that Meenakshi was sleeping. I was surprised to see that just a while ago she was not here, so how did she come here and sleep now? But I didn't pay much attention. Thought maybe she would be in the washroom at that time and lay down to sleep. Now, as soon as I closed my eyes, there were terrible screams. I began to hear. It was as if someone was screaming. Her pain screams wouldn't let me sleep peacefully. At that time, I felt like someone was screaming around me. As soon as I opened my eyes, there was no one. Then I said to myself, maybe I had a bad dream. I have confusion in my mind. Thinking of this, I closed my eyes again to sleep again, and I started hearing the same screams again. When I listened carefully, the screams were none other than Meenakshi's, who was crying. She was screaming. She was crying for help. At that time, I felt as if Meenakshi was in big trouble, crying and screaming, calling me for help. Realizing this, I opened my eyes in a panic. Then he saw that Meenakshi was fast asleep. Slowly the night passed. The next morning, I saw that Meenakshi was not in the room. I went to the bathroom, and as soon as I turned on the tap for bathing, suddenly black water started coming out of it. Along with the sound of falling water, there were some terrible sounds. Engaged. I was terrified to see what was happening to me. That's when I realized the water was just right. Maybe I'm asleep and the night dream is the effect of it. Thinking of this, I came down from the bath and saw that everyone was sitting down to have breakfast. Meenakshi was not from there. I asked my mother and came to know that Meenakshi is on the terrace. Hearing this, I went straight to the terrace, and Meenakshi was standing near the balcony. She smiled at me. He had a strange smile on his face. She came to me. Before I could say anything, he was obscene with me. Started making movements. I was surprised to see this myself. Then I looked at him and said, "Sorry. I know you've been hurt a lot because of me, but don't be angry with me like that. I can't be seen." Hearing this, she said, "You leave those things." Saying this, while doing obscene things with me, she started speaking obscene words. Then I looked around and said, "What are you doing, Meenakshi?" But it was as if he could not control himself. She was about to take off my shirt, so I pushed her away, because of which his face he was furious. Seeing this, before I could say anything, she left the place, so I followed her. She went straight into the room. Seeing him getting angry like this, the family members also started looking at him with surprise. As soon as I came into the room, I tried to convince him by locking the door of the room from inside, but she didn't listen to anything and started doing the same obscene things with me again. I thought he wasn't angry with me anymore. That's why I also started supporting him. Gradually, I was completely lost in it. Then he said that if I do not go to the office today, then his happiness will be appreciated. I also took leave from the office. I then brought food for both of us in the room. But what is it? He had eaten both of our share of food, as if you're quite hungry. I went back to get food for myself. Before that, she broke down on me again. He could see only lust all around him. I myself was quite surprised to see his changed behavior. Not even for a moment would she let me go anywhere. I started feeling very tired. but it didn't seem to matter to him. His antics, I was very surprised to see the behavior, because my Meenakshi liked to talk to me more. She used to say that love should not be from the body, but from the heart. But here today, he was getting a different look. He had nothing to do with my problem. Now I thought maybe he had a head injury due to an accident, so he has to be shown to the doctor. In the evening, when I was with my family, I was talking about it. Then Meenakshi grabbed my hand without looking at anyone else and took me from there. I was quite surprised to see this. As soon as I came into the room, without locking the gate, she again started doing obscene acts with me. I was surprised to see this. I said, "What's wrong with you?" But it was as if my words didn't matter. I then separated him from myself with great difficulty. He locked the gate so that no one would come. His movements were increasing. That day, with great difficulty, he even allowed me to eat the evening meal. He had no consciousness of anything but lust. That night, when I was tired and asleep, I would run when I heard someone screaming. He came out. I saw that my sister-in-law was screaming and crying loudly. At that time, hearing the sound of her crying, all the family members came there. Then I asked my sister-in-law the reason for crying, and she made a hand gesture in front of me. We were blown away by what we saw. My brother-in-law's 5-year-old daughter, who was badly scratched and eaten by someone, was lying dead in front of her. Seeing this, our senses were blown away. We ran and handled him. We could have taken him to the hospital, but before he could have stopped breathing. Seeing this, there was a scream in the whole house. No one could understand what was going on. What has happened? The sister-in-law said that she had slept with her 2 children as usual. My brother and my children slept in the same room. When she woke up that night, her daughter was not there. When she came searching, her body was found here. I could not understand how all this could happen because the house was well locked from inside, so no outsider could come. His face and neck were completely scratched. Maybe the dog in the house did it. Thinking of this, all of us. When we found the dog was also lying dead behind the house. We were surprised to see that his body was also completely scratched. It was as if a large animal had pierced his entire stomach with its nails. He too was lying dead on one side in a bleeding condition. Seeing this, our people were surprised. I couldn't understand how it all happened. We were all very nervous at that time. What were we going through at that time? No one could understand it better than us. Then Meenakshi appeared, but everything looked like he has no problem with anything. He had a strange smile on his face. I was quite surprised to see this. We also took the body of my brother's daughter to the hospital. One last hope may have been left with a few breaths, but she had left us. There was also a police case. All the things were told. The next morning, the police arrived at the house. All the relatives were gathered there. Preparations were being made for the funeral of the corpse. The police were interrogating everyone, but no clue seemed to be at hand. When we came home after performing the same funeral, so they were in a lot of trouble. 2 days passed slowly like this, but no clue came to hand. All the family members were in a lot of trouble, but Meenakshi had nothing to do with anyone. He was concerned with eating and for himself. No matter what I say, whatever I try to explain, she didn't pay any attention. Seeing his actions, the relatives who had come were also very surprised because he had not spoken to anyone. Even when there was screaming all around, she was sitting on the couch eating something. His behavior like this, it was surprising to someone. Together, people were making all kinds of things about how a dead person could be alive. How did Meenakshi come back? Now, I also found one thing very strange about Meenakshi, that she used to go and sit on the terrace in the middle of the night. When he went there looking for her, he was surprised to see that she used to sit with her head in her knees, with her hair facing forward. When I saw this, she would stare at me without saying a word. Sometimes it felt like she was talking to someone alone. But she was silent when she saw me. He had nothing to do with anyone's problem. Seeing the sudden change in Meenakshi, I could not understand what was happening. But Meenakshi's return, her actions, it was surprising to us. But we didn't even think about what was going to happen. 2 days after my brother's daughter's death, my father's body was found hanging from a tree in the courtyard outside the house. Seeing this, we all got nervous. The face and throat of Papa's corpse were also scratched and eaten in the same way. We were very frightened when we saw it. He was immediately taken to the hospital, but the doctor declared Papa dead. With 2 consecutive deaths in his house, There was now a fear every moment as to how all this had happened. The same thing should not happen to anyone else. There was mourning all over the house. Everyone was crying and crying. Whoever heard about it, everyone was surprised. People were making up all sorts of things. The police were also very surprised to hear all this. I couldn't understand what was going on. After my father's funeral, I felt like there was no care of anything. The relatives had slowly left. One day after my father's death, I woke up suddenly at night. I felt that Meenakshi was not there. When I looked around, Meenakshi was nowhere to be seen. When he went looking for Meenakshi, he saw that there was some sound coming from the storeroom of the house. When I went there, my eyes were torn apart because my brother and Meenakshi were in such a condition that I cannot tell you. I was blown away by seeing Meenakshi and my brother in such a condition. I looked at my brother. I never had to. I didn't expect he could do that. There was a strange expression on his face. It was like he was lost in another world. At that time, both of them were not surprised to see me suddenly coming there. My elder brother was smiling even when he saw me standing in front of his eyes. I couldn't imagine how he could smile like this even after 2 sudden deaths in the house. Meenakshi felt like I wasn't bothered about being there. I looked at both of them and there was anger in my voice. What's going on here? Now Meenakshi. As soon as I was about to raise my hand on him, he grabbed my hand. I tried very hard to free my hand, but I couldn't leave. After that, I left in anger. As soon as I came out, the door of the storeroom closed automatically. I looked at him angrily. I wanted to kill Meenakshi, but seeing the atmosphere, he controlled his anger and came to his room. I had thought that I would not keep this Meenakshi with me even for a moment, but given the atmosphere of the house, he was silent right now. I couldn't even sleep that night. I couldn't even tell my family at that time. Now I was facing a lot of trouble because of Meenakshi and Bhaiya. I thought there was something else. That's when I started keeping an eye on Meenakshi. A lot of things about him seemed strange to me. Now all my suspicion had gone to Meenakshi. His weird actions were bothering me, so I did not think it right to talk to sister-in-law about this, because at this time she was not in such a condition that she could talk to anything. I told my mother about the whole thing and said, "Mother, since then, Meenakshi has come back to the house. Since then, her behavior has changed a lot. At the same time, there are deaths at home. There is something or the other." Saying this, I told about Bhaiya and also said that Bhaiya cannot do this. There must be something else. My mother looked at me in amazement at first and then got very upset. In such a situation, my mother who lost her young son, her husband, and her granddaughter. No one can guess what trouble it will be at this time, but those who were left also had to think about it. In such a situation, my mother did something. He thought and put some lemons on the 4 corners of our room with vermilion on the 4 corners of the house. When I saw the lemons in the morning, those lemons had turned black. Seeing this, my mother and I were blown away. Now my mother and I are convinced that the girl living in front of our eyes is probably not Meenakshi. Her body is Meenakshi's, but the soul is someone else's. Well, we had heard a lot about dark powers, and we were a little sure that something like this happens. Now my mother and I came home to find out, sneaked out. We reached the temple of Lord Kartikeya. At this time, we were very nervous. We went to Panditji, who was there, and told him all those things because we did not see any other way where to go. Listening to us, Panditji said, "Son, there is no such mention in our Vedas that after 10 days of death in his last rites, suddenly a person comes back alive. After his death, his next birth takes place. He doesn't come back to life. The way you are telling me, I think that girl has dark powers in her body, because it happens in black powers when a young person dies. By taking his corpse out of the grave, some tantrics use tantra, mantra, and black powers on him for his selfishness and revive him. But it doesn't have that person's soul. They imprison his soul in a way so that his soul cannot do anything by seeing his body surrounded by black powers." Hearing this, my mother and I looked at each other in astonishment. At the same time, I began to remember my dream when I was in pain. Meenakshi was screaming. She was speaking to protect herself. This means Meenakshi's soul is in the captivity of a tantric. Thinking about this made me very upset. Then I hurriedly said, "But why does Baba do that, tantric? There must be a reason behind them." Now, after listening to us, the priest said, "This tantric does this to get black powers to achieve some siddhi. When someone's corpse is removed from the grave, tantra-mantra uses black powers on it. We are the last of a corpse. They come after the sacrament. But there are tantrics who stay there at night who do dead bodies on such corpses. He removes the corpse and places it in front of him. Let's make a circle around it. They keep 5 cardamoms, 5 pisas, 5 cloves, lemon, vermilion there. Along with this, a mustard oil lamp is lit in the human skull, and some meat is kept there, and the system is done there. At that time, with his black powers, he brings that corpse back to life. At the same time, they would have guessed their black powers in advance. They are told how many people are in their family, and then they put knots in the shroud of that corpse according to their sacrifice to increase their black powers. And the more knots are applied, the more the death of the family members of that corpse is certain. Nobody can save them. Hearing this, my mother got nervous and said, "There is no power in front of God. Can't God save you? I have lost my young daughter, my husband, and my husband. Now I'm going to take care of my 2 sons. She doesn't want to lose her grandson, her daughter-in-law." Saying this, she started crying. Now the priest Baba said, "You are right. No black power can compete with the power of God. That girl must have been brought back to life by a tantric so that he can eliminate your family so that the tantric can get cetus. The more deaths, the more the age of that tantric increases. At the same time, he gets more accomplishments, due to which he becomes powerful. People can do anything for their own selfishness." Now my mother and me. When he started to panic, the priest Baba said, "Have faith in God." Saying this, Pujari Baba told many things. Now after listening to Pujari Baba, I was able to understand one thing, that a tantric had revived Meenakshi's body with his tantra knowledge but imprisoned her soul. The one who was living with us now is not Meenakshi. The puppet in the hands of that tantric was a black power, and this sadhana lasts for 21 days. The entire family had to be wiped out within 21 days. She wanted to kill them all one by one. There are 3 deaths in the house. It was done. Now it was our turn. As soon as I understood this, I was blown away. Now I am sure why Meenakshi was doing all this. Then tears came in my eyes that what I thought was my Meenakshi was a black power. But I was determined that I would not let anything wrong happen to my family anymore. I will also free my Meenakshi's soul. Then we went back home. But the sight we saw when we went home was even more heartbreaking. My brother was hanging from the tree in the courtyard of the house. His face and the necks were scratched in the same way as those of other corpses. Seeing this, both of us were blown away. My mother was so shocked that she fell on the spot. I took care of my mother. She was just looking at him as she cried. Suddenly, hearing someone screaming from inside, we both ran inside. I saw that the voice was coming from my sister-in-law's room. When we saw the sight there, our senses were blown away. Meenakshi was holding her sister-in-law by her neck with one hand and hanging in the air, because of which the sister-in-law was trembling. His 7-year-old son. The time wasn't there. Seeing this, I was terrified that I might have hurt him. My mother was very nervous when she saw this. Now Meenakshi again stared angrily at us. It was horrible for him to see this. Then she looked at us angrily and said, "No one will be able to save you. None." Saying this, she started laughing loudly. The sound of his laughing was terrible. He then threw his sister-in-law in the air while holding her neck. Then the sister-in-law fell down on the ground. He would have been hurt. Before that, I took care of him. Now Meenakshi, who looked quite terrible, started screaming loudly and her teeth became quite long. The nails of the hands had also become very long and the face was starting to look quite terrible. Gradually, she came back to the form in which she was buried. It was completely burnt, but the eyes still looked white, which was quite scary. The nails of the hands were quite long. She had just moved towards us to scratch her teeth and hands when my mother's face met with anger. She went out. Now Meenakshi comes to us, who is my brother's. My son was standing next to me in a panic. I stretched out my hand to him and came forward. Seeing this, he looked at me angrily. I was about to scratch when my mother once brought the shivling of Lord Bolanath from Setuban Ramaswaram, which used to be collected in the water pool, which was kept in the temple, and threw it on her, due to which her body started burning completely. She started screaming in pain. Seeing this, we all panicked, standing nearby. He was watching this when he was in agony. A black smoke came out from inside and it left. As soon as he left, Meenakshi's lifeless corpse fell down. Then as soon as the sister-in-law came out and saw the corpse of the brother, she fell unconscious. At that time, the neighbors came after hearing our cries, but today they were also very nervous about what was happening to us. Everyone was very scared and shocked to see the 3 consecutive deaths. No one had words to comfort us. It was a very bad time. Even today, when I remember, tears come out of my eyes. Then preparations were made for the funeral. Along with this, people were also surprised to see Meenakshi's burnt corpse. All sorts of thoughts were coming to his mind because he had performed the last rites of Meenakshi once before. After that, I came back alive in the same corpse again. In such a situation, people were very nervous. Then my brother's son hurriedly told me all the things. In such a situation, people understood that it was not Meenakshi's deception. Then along with our brother, we also took Meenakshi's body for cremation. I went there and saw Meenakshi's grave dug. It happened. Seeing this, people's senses were blown away. Meenakshi was cremated there again with full rituals. His brother was also cremated. Papa's tomb was fine. The tomb of the brother's daughter who had died also checked that no one had tried to do any tantra with her again. After this, while guarding there every moment, I built a permanent tomb over him. What were we going through because of the sudden deaths in our family that took care of them for a few days? We don't even tell you guys. We were not conscious of anything. At that time, I tried to take care of my family with courage, even in my troubles. And gradually the days passed like this. After the brother's departure, the sister-in-law was completely broken. She was always sad. My mother was very upset to see this. In such a situation, my mother asked me to marry her considering my sister-in-law's age. At first, my sister-in-law and I were not ready for this relationship. Now my mother explained a lot to me. He made me realize my responsibility. Tell me about my sister-in-law's age. What will happen to his life? Leaving her son, she cannot marry again, and how will she spend her whole life alone? On the other hand, sister-in-law was also explained by her maternal relatives. In such a situation, after listening to everyone, we finally got married for the happiness of our mother. My sister-in-law was also my maternal uncle's daughter. Now my sister-in-law became my wife and started living in that house. But she could not forget what had happened. Now we all had each other's courage, and with the passage of time, slowly we started moving forward in our lives. Today my brother has a son and a daughter of mine. We have our own family, but he never forgot what happened, which completely changed our lives. So friends, this was our story today. Do tell us how you liked the story by commenting. And those who have not yet subscribed to the channel must subscribe to the channel. Take care of yourself and your family. I, your friend, will meet you soon with a new story. Thank you.